I've done a compression test and it come out really low, so I've bought a leak down tester, just a cheap one. It's set to 0, so I've just got to plug it into the head, and I'll show you what happened basically. So it's plugged into the head, it's dropped, so there's a leak, and you can hear it's coming out the airbox. So it means that my intake valves are leaking. So I'm going to probably start by taking all the carb off, have a look down there. They're still leaking, so looks like I'm going to have to take the head off and probably relap the valves and check them out and see what the problem is. Can't hear anything coming out of the exhaust, can't hear anything coming out of the crankcase, but I definitely need to investigate it because I'm losing loads of power, even though the bike runs quite well for some reason. Yeah, I don't know how well it can run if I actually solve this issue, so. Airbox is removed, and I'm going to take the carb out, disconnect all the wires. I can have a look down, see if I can see anything in the valves. But yeah, it's going to be quite a big job. Okay, so the head's off after removing a lot of stuff. So the head's off there. So here are the valves. So these two are the intake. So I'm just going to squirt some fuel down here and see if they leak. You can see there's a wet patch there. It's growing. Not massive. Don't know if fuel is the best thing to try, but try on the other side. Interesting. When I put some carb cleaner down there, it seemed to have leaked. The exhaust side's definitely leaking as well. I don't know, maybe when I sprayed that carb cleaner, it cleaned out some of the carbon. So I'm just having a look at the barrel, just cleared up all the gaskets, took ages. I mean, I don't know a lot, but it seems no scratches, real smooth. So it seems good. So I'm going to put a piston ring in there and see what the gap is like. So I'm just measuring the rings. I put the top ring in, measured the gap here with a feeler gauge, and we're 0.30, which is in spec, but getting on the wider side. So I might just change the rings while I've got the piston out, but I'm going to try and check the piston and check as much as I can with the tools that I've got, but it looks okay so far. This is the last one I got record. That's a 50, that's the last one, so I've just recorded them, and I'll check whether they're in spec. I've measured the head, looks about right. One of the rings is out of spec, so I changed all the rings, slightly out of spec, not too bad. So I think the main problem is the valves, but I need to get a removal tool to get them out and see how bad they are. I've decided to change the head as well, because I checked the clearances, side clearances, and they're out of spec. So since I'm this far, I might as well put a new piston on, and then I need a tool to get these valves out and probably relap them, and then clean up the import there. A little bit of light porting, might as well while I'm in there, get some more performance. But yeah, really need to see the condition of these valves. How well they're seating. Right, my tools just arrived. I just cleaned these up a little bit with a wire brush, starting to polish them up. And the intake boot had loads of lumps on it. I'm just trying to polish that up as well, help the airflow. So I'm going to remove these now, clean these valves and check the conditions. So first one's out, that's an exhaust valve. It's pretty coked up. Stay there. So they're all out. Don't look. The intakes don't look too bad. They actually look better. I don't know why it was leaking. I don't know if something was caught in there, like a bit of grit. But they don't look too bad. They need cleaning up. But it's actually the exhaust side looks obviously more coked up. But I'm going to clean these all up. Home them in, and yeah, see what happens. I guess while I'm in here, I'm just gonna take out any of these burrs. I wouldn't say porting, but just clean up any of the roughness in there while I'm here, polish it out, help with getting the gases to the cylinder. Right, so I've cleaned this up as best I can. I've kind of polished up and taken any burrs out of there. Probably best side is the intake side. Done the best I can with that. So I'm just going to put some pen around there and then put the valve in and see where we're at with it. See how well it bonds. You can just see there where it's mating with this. So I'm just going to measure that, make sure it's in spec, and then I'll put a little bit of polish on them all. Hopefully they're all good. And I don't know if I can focus. This first one's done, looks okay. There's not pits in it, but just little marks. So I'm just trying to start it and yeah, get rid of some of them. See what happens. Yeah, I just had some smoothing compound, looks pretty good. Hope you can see it, it's pretty good. So I'll just put some black marker on there, that's all I got, and then I'll scrape it down, see the gap it's left, check it, and then move on to the other two. Done with the head, they're all done, all ported. You can see that where I've had some dye and where it's worn off, where I've polished them in. Got what the name is. Yeah, where I've lapped them in. So they're all good to go. Took out the, on the opposite side, these guides, because they are pretty hard now, especially on the exhaust side. So I've taken them off, ordered some new ones, because I noticed this was quite black. So I've used some of the exhaust fumes that are coming back into the head. But yeah, she's good to go. Just got to wait for the parts now. My rings have arrived. I've had another look at the piston and measured the gap between the piston and the cylinder. It looks good. The condition looks good. So I'm going to just leave it for now. Just going to, these are new piston rings, just see where I'm at with these. So see what the ring gap is. So it's saying 0.20 millimeters for the. Right, just going to feed that in 0.2. See it there. It's a little bit tight. I've got the smaller size is 0.18. There's a bit of cotton that goes in, so it's pretty tight. Should be fine. Excellent. Right, here my new piston rings, a little bit of oil. It's a piston, so you have to number it, as it says here, and it gives you the location. That's the arrow, this corresponds with here, and then it gives you the location. So the top ring is in position 1 where the gap is. Position 2 is here, almost opposite sides basically, so you don't get any leaks. You just put that together, put the piston, it's already got a pin in one side, back in the engine, and then put the cylinder back on. Pin in this side. So now moving over to the bike, I'm in trying to get the head on, put some oil around here, squeeze the rings, push it through, pull the chain through, put the gasket on, and I need to put a rubber seal on the bottom as well. So the head's on, wrist pin's in, just got to put the little clip on this side, and then I'll try and put the head on. Sorry I can't film it, my battery's low. So the new guides have arrived. So I'm going to install them on here, a little bit of oil, and then I can start rebuilding the head. Valves are back in. These are really fiddly to get in, these little, I think they're called collets or something like that. These are really difficult to get in, so I had to compress the spring to get them in. I'm going to test it now. I'm going to put some fluid down there and just make sure the valves aren't leaking, and then I'll install the head. So I'm just going to put some petrol down each of the inlets and then see if we get a leak. Well, I've tested all the valves and they all still leak. Tested it with petrol. See it there. So I think I need to do some more work, bed them in. I kept on polishing the seats until they sealed, which they did eventually. So now I've just put the head on. Got two big bolts here, two big bolts here, about 40 Newton meters, 10 Newton meters, two bolts down here. These little bolts on here are 20 Newton meters. I don't know how I'm going to get in there. I'm going to have to just do that by hand because I don't think I've got a tool to get in there. And then I'm going to put the cams back in, time it, and start rebuilding all the back end, put the cars back in. So yeah. Valve connectors are all tight, so I've adjusted them. I've actually had to grind them off myself, just test them all. Perfect, all of them are perfect, so I can now rebuild the engine.
Like we all get blamed for everyone's thing, and it's like they're like, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, racist or misandrist or whatever. It's like, yeah, but I wouldn't do that to you. Some guys.
Oh, is that it?